Welcome to Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton's Unmanned Aerial System Range Safety Officer class. In this presentation, you will learn how to schedule, occupy, and utilize aviation coordination areas aboard Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton. This class will take approximately 10 minutes of your time. Please note that the slides will advance automatically and allow you to follow along with the accompanying handouts. Should you need to make face-to-face contact with us at the Range Operations Division, you'll find us at the Base Air Station, Building 2399, Room 209. For phone contact, several phone numbers have been listed on this slide. They include the Range Control Officer, the Range Safety Specialists, the Long Rifle Firing Desk, the Operations Officer, and Range Scheduling. For submission of TARs, overlays, UAS brief sheets, or any other scheduling questions, please use the email address shown to submit them. The two primary publications used to regulate UAS activity on Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton are Chapter 4 of Base Order P3500.1 November and Safety Use Memorandum 3-TAC-08. It is important that UAS operators read and familiarize themselves with these publications prior to conducting any training aboard Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton. The current authorized UAS platforms are listed on this slide. These platforms do not require any further frequency approval. If the platform you will be utilizing is not listed on this slide, please contact Base Frequency Manager prior to scheduling for frequency approval. Note that the scheduling of ACAs will not be permitted until frequency approval has been received by the Range Control Officer. In order to be qualified to assume the role of UAS RSO, all UAS mission commanders and operators must attend both the Camp Pendleton Non-Live Fire RSO and Unmanned Aerial System RSO classes prior to conducting any UAS operations. Additionally, individuals must produce documentation of being formally trained on the platform, such as school certificate or a letter from the commanding officer. Once obtained, the RSO certification will remain in effect for 2 years. Multiple UASs operating within the same ACA require only a single RSO as long as the following control measures are met. The RSO must personally verify home location data for each platform prior to launch, and positive communication with other launch sites must be maintained in order to call necessary commands such as land immediately and takeoff approval. When conducting standard UAS training, the event should be scheduled in RIFMAS at least 7 days prior, and for non-standard UAS training, 14 days prior to the event. In both cases, a UAS brief sheet must be submitted, launch and recovery sites need to be scheduled separately from the ACA, and a face-to-face briefing with range safety is required prior to going into a training status. For non-standard training cases, an overlay must also be submitted to the RCO prior to the event. All UAS operations at Camp Pendleton must remain within the R2503A and or R2503B special use airspace. This airspace is active daily from 06 to 23:59. Any request for extended airspace time must be submitted to range scheduling via email no later than 5 working days prior to the event. Camp Pendleton is home to many endangered species. The RSO must be familiar with any environmental restrictions within the aviation operating area. Refer to Chapter 2 of Base Order P3500.1 November for further details. The RSO must ensure that operators maintain a minimum altitude of 500 feet above ground level over camps and people in all training areas. UAS operations cannot be conducted at Camp Pendleton unless positive two-way communication is established and maintained between the UAS RSO and Long Rifle. The RSO shall advise Long Rifle 10 minutes prior to launch and 10 minutes prior to recovery. If there are multiple UASs airborne at any one given time, only one departure or arrival call will be made for all aircraft. Units conducting UAS operations must have a radio that can monitor 310.3 UHF, which is the Long Rifle Aviation safety net. Range check-in, RSO changeovers, and any other administrative traffic can be passed via Long Rifle's ground safety net. All launch and recovery coordination must be conducted over 310.3 UHF. Note that air sentry must be posted at all times in order to guard against manned aircraft intrusions. RSOs must be in compliance with both technical and field manuals specific to their UAS platform in order to preclude any electromagnetic interference. UAS operations will be conducted in visual meteorological conditions. That is, the UAS is not authorized to fly during heavy cloud or fog events. In other words, the UAS must be seen in order to be avoided by manned aircraft. Additionally, Long Rifle must be augmented by surveillance radar during UAS flights. Finally, UAS equipped with transponders must be set to 4036. Established aviation coordination areas are listed on this slide. Any UAS operations conducted outside of established ACAs require coordination with the range control officer at least 14 days prior to the event. Each unit must schedule all required facilities in RFMS and provide UAS overlays with depicted routes, ACA boundaries, operating altitudes, platform, and loss signal procedures. The following slides depict the established ACAs on Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton. ACA Flores, surface to 1500 AGL. ACAs Horno and Onofre, surface to 1500 AGL. ACA Mateo, surface to 1500 AGL. ACA R409 Alpha, operating altitudes as listed in special instructions. LZ 53 UAS areas of operation, operating altitudes as listed in special instructions. The RSO and UAS operators must remain vigilant when transiting near ground training ranges when live fire training is being conducted. You should expect all major impact areas to have live fire activity 7 days per week. Units can contact Long Rifle on the day of training for impact area reports. If a UAS should go down in the Quebec, Whiskey, or Zulu impact areas, EOD support will be required. Contact the range control officer via Long Rifle to coordinate EOD support. It is important to note that the UAS may not be retrieved immediately. Factors such as hours of darkness or the ability to get EOD support must all be considered. Regardless of the impact area, retrieving any UAS downrange requires coordination and authorization from the range control officer, regardless of the impact area involved. Remember, the RSO must ensure that he acts as a safety supervisor only and is assigned no other duties. At no time will the RSO participate in any type of training in any way. In order to complete this training, you must pass the follow-on open book testing held in the Range Operations Classroom. Note that having a formal school certificate for your UAS platform in hand is a requirement to sit for the UAS RSO proctored tests, and successful completion of the Range Safety Certification class is a prerequisite for the UAS class and testing. In order to reserve a seat for testing, you must contact us at the shown email address with your request. We appreciate you taking the time to ensure that you are properly trained to safely support your unit's training.